Have you ever just wished for a guide to life? Some kind of ancient compass to help you figure out all the big challenges with a little more wisdom and way less stress. Well, today, we're going to unlock some of that timeless wisdom from a place you might not expect, the I-Ching. Let's dig in and see how this ancient book can actually be a super practical guide for our modern lives. I mean, think about it. Anytime you start something new, a project at work, a new business, a relationship, the questions are always the same, right? When do I go all in and push forward? And when is it actually smarter to just pull back for a second? These are the real-world dilemmas we're going to tackle today. Now, a lot of people hear I-Ching and think of fortune-telling. But really, at its heart, it's a guide to living in harmony. We're going to focus on the part of the book that's basically a roadmap for mastering our social world. Our relationships, our careers, and just growing as people. To do that, we're going to follow a story that's told through 4 connected hexagrams. Those are the 6-line symbols that are the core of the I-Ching. And trust me, together, these 4 symbols map out the entire life cycle of any big project you could ever take on, from that first little spark of an idea all the way to success. Okay, so our journey kicks off with Phase 1. This is all about the 2 things you absolutely need for anything to succeed. That initial spark of connection, and then the discipline, the grit, to make it last. So every great thing starts with what the I-Ching calls affection. And no, this isn't just about romance. It's about any real, genuine, emotional connection. The symbol for this is a lake high up on a mountain. Just picture that for a second. Something soft and receptive being held up by something incredibly strong and stable. That right there is the foundation for anything you want to build that lasts.
And check out how this connection grows. It's shown as a journey up through the body. It all starts with the toe, which is like that tiny, barely conscious thought to move. Then it rises to the calf, which is a little signal to kind of pump the brakes and wait for more support instead of just rushing in. When you get to the thighs, now you've got the power to move, but you've got to do it with your own conviction, not just following the crowd. The journey then goes to the mind, where you stick to your principles so firmly that others get inspired and join you. And finally, you use your back, your core strength, to finish the job. Only then do you have the real authority to use your tongue and declare your success. It's such a cool progression from a private idea to a public reality.
So a strong start is great, but it means absolutely nothing if it just fizzles out, right? And that brings us to the second hexagram in this phase, permanence. Its symbol is thunder and wind, 2 of the most constant, powerful forces in nature. The lesson here is crystal clear. Once you've found that spark, you have to build it to last by grounding it in principles that don't change. So how do you actually make things last? Well, the I-Ching tells us to break down our biggest goals into small, steady, manageable steps. It's all about patience and principle. At the core of it all is just staying true to what's right, because a righteous path is what builds trust and a solid foundation. That's what lets you stand your ground, especially when you're tempted to take a shortcut or just give in to pressure from other people. So the big takeaway from Phase 1 is this. A real beginning needs 2 things. You need that spark of genuine affection, and you need the discipline to make it endure. You can't have one without the other. All right, let's move into Phase 2, because after you have a strong start, challenges are gonna pop up. It's inevitable. This phase is all about learning that delicate dance of knowing when to pull back and when to push forward. I know, this sounds crazy, but in the classic Chinese text, the 36 stratagems, the ultimate tactic is running away. The I-Ching actually agrees with this idea, but with a really important twist. And this brings us to hexagram 33, retreat. Now, this is not about giving up. It's a strategic withdrawal. Think of it like a boxer who takes a step back to get a better angle. When you're facing forces that are just overwhelming, the smartest thing you can do is pull back, save your energy, and wait for a better moment. It's about being prudent, not panicking. See, the whole point of a strategic retreat is to protect your most valuable assets, your own willpower, and the key people on your team. You're not admitting you lost, you're just preserving your strength so you can win later. And then, when that time comes, after you've strategically retreated, you can apply great strength. That's what hexagram 34 is all about. This one teaches us the right way to use our power. Its symbol is thunder over heaven, which represents this massive, natural, righteous force. But how you use that strength is everything. There's one way, which is just to use brute force and try to steamroll your way through everything. But the wiser path, the I-Ching path, is to use your wisdom to motivate people so they want to follow you. See, real power is in inspiration, not in coercion.
The hexagram gives us this perfect kind of funny warning about using strength foolishly. It tells this little story of an overconfident goat that just decides it's going to butt its way through a hedge.
And what happens? Its horns get completely tangled. It's totally stuck, can't move forward, can't back up. That is exactly what happens when we try to use brute force instead of strategy. We just end up trapping ourselves.
So, the rules of strength are pretty clear. Real power comes from being righteous, because when you act in a way that's right, you align yourself with this greater flow, and you earn allies. If your moral compass is feeling a little shaky, it's probably better to just not act at all. And if you do get stuck like that goat, remember that the way out is through wisdom and hard work, not just more pushing.
All right, so how do we pull all of this together? What does this whole four-part journey really teach us about mastering the natural rhythms of our own lives and our work?
Here's a super simple cheat sheet to help you use these ideas. For any new beginning, just ask yourself, is this connection I'm feeling authentic? As things start growing, ask, am I building this thing to actually last? When you inevitably hit a wall, ask, is it time to conserve my energy and take a strategic retreat? And when you're ready to move again, ask, how can I use my strength in the wisest way possible?
The ultimate lesson here, the big thing I want you to take away, is that success is never a straight line. It's a dance. It's a rhythm. It's knowing how to flow between these four different energies, creating those real connections, persevering with your principles, strategically pulling back to save your strength, and then moving forward with righteous power.
So I'll leave you with this one question to think about. In the great project of your life, whether that's your career, your relationships, your own personal growth, what is the rhythm asking of you right now? Is it time for connection, for endurance, for retreat, or for strength? The answer, well, that's what's going to show you the way forward.